Hi there, this is David, and welcome to my spotlight on Mato Anomalies. As many of you know, I've been a huge fan of the Shadow Hearts and Shin Megami Tensei series for decades now. And while I do like to stick to my jrpg comfort food of Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and Tales, I do also branch out into some of the darker takes here and there. I can be multifaceted, liking all sorts of jrpgs, from the bright and colorful to the darker and more mysterious, and then everything in between. So whenever I heard about a game that kind of mixes the style and the setting of Shadow Hearts, along with the gameplay and cerebral storytelling of SMT, I was pretty intrigued, and I wanted to try it out right away. And if you want to as well, please be sure to follow the link in the video description to download and try out the demo yourself. In today's video, an ad brought to you by Prime Matter, I want to showcase their upcoming release on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, the Xbox One, X, and S, as well as PC, to be officially launching in Q1 of 2023, Mato Anomalies. The setting takes a page right out of Shadow Hearts, especially in From the New World. While that was set in a 1920s Prohibition America, here you're thrown straight into the action as you take on the role of Doe, a private detective living in a neo-futuristic meets roaring 20s version of the Far East called Mato. The story is told through voiced cutscenes, similar to something that you'd find in something like Persona, but also interspersed with cartoony pop-up bubbles, very reminiscent of Phantasy Star 4. I mean, look at this.
Don't forget your original goal. You don't have to be so invested.
I never forgot. This is just something extra. This city faces endless problems, but we have the ability to solve them. So why not try?
Since when did you become a saint?
After meeting you.
Why not just beat him up right away? That would have saved so much trouble.
Agreed.
Jeez, can't you two act more civilized?
No.
Alrighty then.
Good or evil, judgment is at hand. I like the sound of that.
I just love the vibe that they have going on here. From the setting, to the characters, to the cartoony cutscenes. You can see that a lot of love went into these scenes. They're bright and upbeat, while also having some little sinister undertones. And adding to that creepy vibe that they have going on, many of the NPCs are eerily lacking eyeballs. I don't know what's up with that, but it's really unsettling to me. The quick travel screen showcasing the town is laid out almost like a subway map, with indicators showing you where to go next to complete the storyline missions, as well as where all the side quests are located. But just by kind of poking around town, you are sure to run into your fair share of odds and ends, as well as tons of side quests. Everyone and their mother wants you to solve their problems for them. The first thing that you're going to notice, besides the neat penny blood, cel-shaded art style, is the interface. Unfortunately here, you can't use a controller. This is kind of old school insofar as you're going to need to explore the world through the use of a mouse and a keyboard. And this did take some getting used to for me. But as a child of the 80s, it wasn't anything too far removed from what I'm used to in the past. And I will say this, the keyboard controls actually worked far better than I thought that they would. I was really pleasantly surprised. But as I was playing a beta version of the game, hopefully they will put some full controller support into the final product. Your first mission is to investigate some shady, underhanded dealings and recent disappearances around down at the harbor. There, though, you get sucked into an alternate dimension filled with demons called the Bane Tide. Once trapped in their lair, you're promptly attacked, only to be saved by the duo protagonist Graham, a shamanistic ninja who has the ability to travel between the dimensional rifts at will. Essentially, while in rifts filled with the Bane Tide, you control only Graham, not Doe. But whenever you're outside in town, you control Doe and not Graham. Just think of it this way, and I kind of think that they said it best: Graham does the fighting, while Doe does the investigating. Graham is a strange one. He goes from the real world to the layers to quell the Bane Tide, lest they end up manifesting in reality to feed off the negative emotions of humanity. While running through the dungeons as Graham, you'll undoubtedly encounter little rooms, and here you can get into the quick turn-based battles, and here's where the bulk of the gameplay occurs. I love the new take on the old formula here, because skills work on a countdown timer rather than utilizing something like MP. So while something like double attack can be used every other turn, a skill that hits all enemies can only be used every 2 turns, while the normal attack can be used every single turn if you so desire. It's kind of interesting to see how the genre is evolving and changing right in front of our own eyes, and we can now see how developers are moving away from MP and instead trying to experiment with new ideas. Something that's pretty neat and also adds to the challenge is that each fight does not take place in a vacuum. What I mean by this is, if you use a pretty powerful attack that has a long cooldown in one fight, but then you move on to the next fight, that skill will still be in cooldown there. So while auto battle is a thing, and normally the AI is actually pretty smart, you're not going to want to use it whenever you get towards a boss, because you're going to want to make sure that all of your skills are off their cooldowns, so you can use them and hit the boss fast and hard with your best skills, not wait for that cooldown timer to go away. The dungeon designs are all bright and vibrant, with hues of neon permeating the architecture, while at the same time kind of keeping a creepy, otherworldly vibe. Doe doesn't fight with his fists per se, he instead fights with his mind. As a private investigator, it's his job to track down suspects and glean information from them. However, not everyone is willing to talk, so he has the power to mind hack, very similar to those soul hacker games. And inside your suspects' minds, you kind of play a strategic card game, where you defeat their inner demons to get them to talk. These turn-based, cerebral battles reminded me a lot of my Magic the Gathering days back in the 90s. You can choose to buff yourself up, use cantrips for more cards on the next turn, or just go on the offense. Your opponent, though, will continually summon demons, and some cards will do more damage to them, so it's really up to you how to handle the fights. Do you want to go after the demons, or do you want to attack your opponent directly? Just target his mind. It's really up to you. Maybe you just want to do a little bit of both, because you've got to think fast and be quick on your feet here in order to get those goons to talk to you. I will say this, these card-based, mind-hacking battles are far from easy. They're going to take up a lot of time, as well as a lot of trial and error. Many cards do have descriptions of what they do, but without diving deep into the tutorials, you're not going to know exactly what they do, so it's really up to you to play around with them all, and then figure out how the buffs and the debuffs affect the battlefield, and then use each of them to your best advantage. This is not a cakewalk. Don't think that just because this is a JRPG that it's all going to be easy, because it's not. This is definitely taking a page out of the earlier SMT games, where you're going to be eternally punished in these card games. Pardon the pun. That all being said, though, I was big into Magic back in high school, and card games that can recapture that same essence do hold a special place in my heart. The beta is still a work in progress, but a demo is freely available for you to try out on the Steam page, and I do encourage all of you to follow the link in the video description and download the demo to try it out yourself. It can be a little bit rough around the edges, but with the pedigree of quality games behind the developer, I have no doubt that we are looking at something special here. If you're a fan of cerebral games of yesteryear, harder games, or maybe even the Shadowrun series, I could see you enjoying this. If you're a fan of the aforementioned Shadow Hearts, Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, or the recently released Soul Hackers 2, then this is the game for you. Just be sure to check out that demo and wishlist Mato Anomalies if it's something that you enjoy, because it is scheduled for release in the first quarter of 2023. So, that's it for my spotlight on Mato Anomalies. I would once again like to thank Prime Matter for sponsorship and the opportunity here. How do you feel about the demo and what you see here? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and what I do here on the channel, please consider heading on over to Twitch for some streaming fun, checking out Patreon for exclusive videos and early access to my content, or coming on over to my Discord to chat and hang out. The links to them all can be found in the video description. This has been David, and if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.